Welcome to my class. I'm not sure how many people will be joining today. I know we have sometimes 30 or 40 students who join a demo class. My name's Chris, and I'm a teacher here, and I teach a number of different classes: reading and writing, public speaking, another one that's also about topics in magazines. And today we're going to be looking at a demo for a class called Wordly Wise, which is the name of the textbook. And we'll take a look at the textbook. We'll try some of the activities, see who can participate and talk with me about it, and see if you have any questions about it. So as I said, my name's Chris. I'm actually in Halifax right now on the east coast of Canada. So for me, it's 8 o'clock at night. For people in Toronto, it's 7 o'clock at night. If there's anybody here who's in China, and there might be some, it's 7 in the morning, which is really early. So here we are. So again, we'll see how many people join. We have about, 15 or 16 students now. If you do have any questions, you can raise the hand on the program. Because there's many people, if you raise your real hand, maybe I don't see you. So make sure that you raise the little electronic hand. Okay. Because we have many people also, it's probably better that you mute your microphone unless you have a question, because there might be a lot of background noise where you are now. So we'll get started and start.
I told you I'll see you soon.
I know, Kevin. I can tell it's you. All right. But like I said, let's mute our microphones and see how it goes. So I'm going to share my screen. We teach the class in Zoom just like this. Many of you guys have used Zoom before or something similar for Chris. Hello, Henry says hi. And so we'll also be using Google Classroom, which most of you have familiarity with. And I'm going to show you what the course is like in Google Classroom, and how we use it and the type of activities. I'll show you an old class that I did that I taught at this same level. And I'll show you guys how it works. It's normally up to a 20-week program, but sometimes it's only 15. We'll see how it goes. So back to everything here. Again, if you have a question, put that electronic hand up. So let's start here. This is the textbook that we use for the class. And as you see, I said the name of it, it's called Wordly Wise 3000. I don't understand the 3000 exactly. Maybe is there 3000 vocabulary words? 15, 150, no, there's only 300 vocabulary words introduced in the book. So I don't know why it's Wordly Wise. It should be Wordly Wise 300, but there you go. And this is the grade 6 level workbook. It doesn't mean you have to be going into grade 6. I have people in this class who are, sometimes they've just finished grade 4 or 5, 6, and sometimes I've had students who are in grade 7. So it does not exactly matter if you're actually grade 6, it's level 6 that the book is, okay? So the way the book is organized, it's organized into 20 different lessons. And each lesson has a main reading, vocabulary, and questions in the textbook. We don't use a lot of the questions in the textbook. We use the reading and the vocabulary most, okay? Some of you may get a copy of the textbook, but if not, don't worry about it. I'll be giving you all the material you need. Hans. What's up?
This feels weird. I feel like I'm in a recorded meeting. Wait, I am recording. I think I'm listening to a recorded meeting.
It's not a recorded meeting. I'm a real person.
Yeah, it feels so weird.
Why? I sound like a recording?
No, I just feel weird.
Why does it feel weird? Explain yourself.
Like I usually take like Ristlo, and this feels a lot weird.
A lot weirder. Okay, that's very nondescript, but all right. It feels weird. I don't know if that's a good weird or a bad weird, but it's weird. So we've got the textbook here. each chapter of the
I need
textbook.
the textbook.
The textbook? What's our, sorry? Say that again.
Textbook.
What about it? You have it, you said, or?
No, I don't have it, so
No, I know nobody generally has the textbook, but you don't have to worry about that. You don't need to have the textbook because
Okay.
I'll be giving you the materials you need, and I'll show you guys that today, okay? Every chapter starts with word list, and this is the main thing that we're studying each week in this class. There's 15 new vocabulary words, probably some of which you've never seen before, and you'll need to study that before our class. It's kind of part of the homework. Inside the book, there are some questions we don't usually use too much. The main thing is getting to the reading. Each textbook reading is about 500 words or so. And inside each reading, okay, there are the 15 vocabulary words from that first list are inside the reading, okay? At the end of the reading, there are 15 questions because each question has something to do with a different vocabulary word. So this is the textbook we're going to be using, depending upon whether you're taking a 15 or 20-week program, it's the same text. And again, as I said, I'll be giving you guys the materials. Now, we're going to do some examples in a moment, but let me show you what it looks like in Google Classroom. So if you go to Google Classroom, once you're in the class, you'll see this, the stream. Many people are familiar with this from school already. When you go to coursework, each week, I will be adding new activities, okay? So each week, and this is the one we're gonna be looking at today, is gonna be week 6. I'm just chose week 6. So what I'll be giving you guys is a Google document with the reading when you're in the class, okay? And it has the questions and the reading. So you don't need the textbook. I'm putting it here for you, okay? There will also be vocabulary activity that you need to do. And the vocabulary activity, which we'll take a look at later, you'll actually go through and do questions. And there's questions all about the vocabulary, and it will be automatically marked, and I'll get your score. There will be a writing topic every week as well. And the writing topic is linked to something we did about in class. And you'll be writing 200 or 250 words in the writing, okay? There may be a document where we do classwork. And then there's also the word list for the next week. Okay, so this is the same for every week. We have 5 different things that we need to use in each week. And as I said, this week we'll take a look at week 6. Now, if we look in our textbook, 3, 4, again, and we don't use the textbook. 4, oh, my mouse is very slow. And in a moment, I'm going to get you guys to participate and start talking to me here somehow. There, for example, is the word list for week 6, okay? Now, in week 5, for example, I would give you guys that word list right there. I'll give you the PDF copy of the pages you need for that word list to study, okay? So again, I'm not going to be giving you the textbook. I'll be giving you everything you need each week. Some students print the textbook, they get a copy and print it. You don't have to do that. I'll be giving you everything, okay? So what we usually do at the beginning of each class is we take a look at the word list. And for example, and again, this is going to be difficult because nobody's studied it yet. These are the 15 words for lesson 6. Great, let's go through them and pronounce them. Now, you don't have to turn on your microphone, but when I'm saying the words, how about you repeat them to check the pronunciation, okay? So everybody make sure you're muted. Here we go, ready? So say them after I say them to try to understand them, okay? Here we go. Apparel, appreciate. Hans, are you gonna eat and talk? Continuous, dissolve, domesticate, emerge, fiber, function, hatch, inhibit. Now the next one looks like minute, but actually it's minute because it's an adjective, okay? Motion, sheathe, that's a hard one to say, sheathe, shed, and transfer. So for example, this is the list that you would get in week 5. I would give you this PDF list with the definitions and pronunciation in week 5, and then we will review it in week 6. So here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I'm going to ask you guys to put up, oh, Mia's there. Hi, Mia. Say hi, Mia. Say hi. No, say hi. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I mute myself now?
What's that?
Can I mute now?
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, please mute your mic, please. Okay, now we have like 24 different people here, or 20 different people here. But here's what I'd like you to try to do, and it's going to be difficult for me to see. I want you guys to put up your hand, electronic hand, if you can, when I ask you some questions here. And the question I'm going to ask you is, does anybody see a word on the list that you know the meaning? Can anybody put up your hand so I can see it there? Nick, you've got your hand up. Is there a word there that you know? Nick, you got your, yep. What do you think, Nick? Which one do you know?
I know what dissolve means.
Dissolve? How would you explain that one to me? What would you say? What does it mean?
I think it would mean like dissolve in an acid or something.
That's an example. Exactly. You can use acid to dissolve metal or something. So how would you explain what that means then?
Maybe to melt something.
So what is it? Yeah, and that's one word we can use for it. Melt in a way. Absolutely. Can you think of another way of explaining it?
I can't think of anything else.
I know. So we got melt for dissolve for sure. Now other people have their hands up for different words, but I'm wondering, does anybody know another way of saying dissolve? Leo and Ryan, there's 2 of you there.
Oh, actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm Leo.
Hi, Leo.
Ryan's the guy right beside me. And dissolve, technically you could say disappear, but it's like really slowly. Okay, you will notice it. You will notice when someone dissolves. Or something.
Right, but that doesn't help me understand what it means.
Like it's like slowly disappearing. Like when you put salt or sugar in water, it slowly disappears. It doesn't just pop.
And we have to be careful using the word disappear, because it doesn't really disappear. It just changes its form, right?
It doesn't really disappear, but it changes its form. Or
that's what I just said, exactly. So dissolve. So we could say another one is to break down. It breaks down into its parts. So if you take acid, you put it on metal, the metal breaks down into different chemicals. All right, good enough. There we go.
Not really different chemicals, but different states. So.
No, but they actually break down into, when you put acid on metal, it actually creates new chemical compounds. Not just you're not melting the metal. It's not getting hot and melting. You're actually taking the metal, for example, iron, and if you use hydrochloric acid.
Chemical, sometimes it's not chemical, like how acid dissolves like limestone and
Right. But it tells when an acidic rain dissolves limestone, it becomes calcite. So it actually is changing it into a different form of a chemical. Anyway, let's not go there. So hey, who else has got their hand up who might have an idea? Stephen?
Yeah.
You got it.
Which word are you looking at here?
Domesticate.
Why is there an echo? Okay, what does domesticate mean?
It means like making like a slave.
Yeah, that would be like an extreme case of that. Yeah, so let's take it down a little bit. What is an example of something I would domesticate?
Like an animal?
Yeah, no, an animal. Exactly. So if I domesticate an animal, what would the opposite be? This animal is domesticated, but this animal is
wild.
Exactly. So I change behavior of something.
Or more like make it mild, not wild.
And it can live with humans is how we use it, right? So if we're talking about a wolf, we domesticate it over the years, it becomes a dog, and it changes its behavior so that it can live with humans, right? It's not threatening or dangerous. Exactly. Good idea. Okay, Ethan, what do you got?
Function.
Function.
That is a part of the a stuff like a software or a bot or machine that it's used to do something do stuff like a part of program of a software.
Yeah.
It can do like copy a text.
Right. So for example, Ethan, if I say, what is the function of this? What is the function?
Moving the pointer on your screen.
Absolutely. So that's the function of it. So we can, in other words, we can say is like a purpose or use of something. It's the function. What is it used for? What does it function? What does it do? Right? So what you were talking about in programs, absolutely. What does this button do? What does this program do? What's the function? What is it, a step in something? Absolutely. So function, we got the purpose or use of something. It usually has a result of some kind. Awesome. Let's keep going here. Hans, what do you got? Hungry Hans, what do you got?
Inhabit.
Which one? Inhibit?
Yeah, inhibit.
Okay.
I mean, like, does that mean like you live here or something?
No, that's inhabit.
Or
Different
like,
word.
or like you learn something new or change
No,
a feeling or something?
no. We got it. It's a different one. Maybe you don't know that one. Is there another one you know, perhaps?
Dissolve.
We already did that.
Fiber?
Okay, what's that?
Is this something that you use in your body?
Fiber is a kind of a shape and type of thing that can be used. Like there's fiber in food, or there's a fiber in clothing and fabric. Any idea?
Appreciate.
Okay, let's go over appreciate. Okay, and then I got to move on. Go ahead. What do you think?
You like it.
Yeah. So okay. So if you appreciate something, you like something, we can use that one. Sure. How else can we say if I appreciate? Oh, I really appreciate that. There's a word that we have that starts with GR. I'm very very grateful. Other people are yelling in there. You're very, very grateful. You're very appreciative of somebody. You appreciate something. Absolutely. That's an adjective. That's fine.
Thankful, maybe?
Wait. Okay, let's move on to somebody else. Who else is there? Emmy.
Emerge.
Emerge. What's that mean?
Emerge means show up.
To show up in some way. Absolutely. Any other ways you can explain it? You're being coached there, Emmy. Any idea?
Come into view.
Yeah, come into view, sure. Right? So show up, come into view, emerge, it's something that was hidden before, right? And then it comes up in some way. All right, let's move around. Let's move along here to some other people that I haven't talked to yet. Okay, Mia, go ahead. I see you there, Henry. You're next, or Ken's next.
Ocean.
Ocean? Oh, motion. What's that mean?
A movement.
Yeah, the easiest way is to talk about movement, right? It's motion. That's kind of about it. The motion of something, the movement of something. Absolutely. So we don't need to go into that one in great detail. Ken, what about you? Ken, are you there?
Me?
Yes, you.
Shed.
Yep.
Shed means like get out of its old skin I guess.
Yeah, which animal do we usually talk about that sheds? What kind of animals shed their skin?
Snake.
Snakes, right? And my son has a snake upstairs, and you may see it one day. Mia's seen it before. And the snake, when it sheds its skin, it's really cool because it comes off. It looks like a snake, but it's just the skin, right? So shed, a common one for shed is to remove, and I'll make it in a more scientific way, to remove an outer layer, because it doesn't have to be skin. It can be many different things, but often we use it for skin where it comes off the outer layer. Great, great, great. Henry, you're next. What's up?
I choose apparel.
Which
The
one?
first one.
Oh,
the first
apparel, yeah?
It's like clothing.
Absolutely. So clothing, clothing, there we go. And it's a weird word. We don't use it that often. We usually use it for like expensive clothing, something like that. Some stores use it in their name, right? So it's clothing. Absolutely. Good job. Yeah.
Let me think of another one.
Well, hold on. Then you think of another one. Put your hand up when you're ready. But I'm going to go to Ethan. Ethan's next.
Okay.
Ethan, what do you got?
Transfer.
Transfer.
Yeah, transfer is that you give something to another people,
Mhm.
and this stuff is his.
Okay. Give something to another. Now, is the other person, do they want it?
No, yes.
So if I transfer a disease to someone,
No, that probably.
so by itself, it doesn't mean the other thing wants it or not. Obviously, with computers, what is something, Ethan, that we transfer with computers?
Oh, yeah, big computer. There's no computer. Don't think.
What am I going to transfer between computers, for example?
It's yeah, it's still called transfer. So
No, I know. I'm asking you, what do we transfer? What actually goes from one computer to another one?
Electricity.
Electricity.
Yeah.
Henry's going crazy there. What do you guys say, Henry?
Can I say one for after? Can I say one for fiber?
Okay, but right now
Fiber.
we're just talking about transfer. Can anybody tell me what we transfer from one? Mia, what do we transfer between computers?
Messages or letters.
Messages between computers, data between computers, information we can transfer. Absolutely. If I go to the bank, what am I going to transfer?
Moolah.
Moolah. Really? Moolah? Yeah.
Money.
Money. Yeah. It's difficult in the chat because I can't always see the chat. So try to use your mic if you can. All right. Here, I want to go back to Leo and Ryan because I haven't talked to them in a bit here. That was Leo. Ryan, what do you got? Has Ryan got something? Leo and Ryan? Leo and Ryan, are you there? You're scratching your head. I see you. Can you turn on your microphone? Your hand's up. Are you gonna
Oh, sorry about that. My mic was off the whole time.
I heard nothing. I heard nothing from you. Go ahead. What
Dad?
about Ryan? What about Ryan? Your turn.
I wanted to say something about the dissolve part.
Dissolve way back, the first one, way back there. Okay, what are you gonna say about dissolve?
I think dissolve also means breaking into smaller pieces, breaking down, basically.
Yeah.
Smaller pieces, because basically like the sugar part, talking about the sugar.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. You got to get closer to your microphone.
He says.
No,
Just
don't
suck it
scream.
all.
No, Leo, don't scream at me. I'm talking to Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan, get closer to the microphone, please.
Sugar and salt part you were saying about the cup. Well,
Hey, Ryan, you're not listening to me. Ryan, I can't hear you because your microphone is directional, and right now your microphone is pointed at Leo. So you have to get in front of Leo to talk to me. or point the camera at him. There we go. Now Ryan, talk.
So
Look at that.
basically, you know the what sugar and salt you were talking about?
Sugar,
the
salt,
water
yeah.
dissolve? Well, it doesn't actually disappear. It actually turns into smaller pieces.
I don't-
Which you can't actually see it, but if you taste it, you will know that it didn't disappear.
For sure. So if you take salt, for example, in water, what it's doing there is it's not really becoming this new homogeneous solution. It's becoming saline. So the salt, in fact, is you're absolutely right, being broken down into these smaller parts. But if I leave the water there and it evaporates, the salt will come back again, right? It's been dissolved in the water, but will come back again. All right, there we go, dissolve, no problem. Let's move on to other people. Just wait, let's get to other people. Steven, you got another one you want to do? Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, your hand's up. Do you have another one to do?
Continuous, I guess.
Okay.
Well, you can just like guess it. It's like continuing forever or whatever.
Kind of, but say it in a way, but don't use the word continue to explain it to me. Try it in a different way.
Forever.
Yeah, we could say forever. Yeah, sure. That'll
Like-
work. Ongoing.
Something happening after something forever.
Yeah, so it's not ending, right? That's the idea. It's continuous. It goes on and on and on and on. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, Henry, what did you have to say? You need to go?
Yeah, for fiber.
Fiber, what about fiber?
A thread. It's like a thread.
And that's an example of a fiber, right? So an example of a fiber would be a thread, which is like in clothing, that kind of thing. It's a fiber that puts together like that. So it's kind of like a long strand of material. That'll make more sense later, but I can't type. Material. So it's long and thin. It's a strand or like a string or a thread. Absolutely. And if you have to go, Henry, that's cool. You can go if you want. Ken, what do you got? Remember, if you don't have a question, put your hand down. Ken, go ahead.
Hatch,
Hatch, yeah.
like hatch is like born from something,
Yeah. So it's kind of
from
like
like
to,
egg or something.
yep, to begin, to be born. That idea, exactly, like a bird hatches out of an egg, or other animals, any egg animal, it hatches, absolutely, and it comes out, right? Henry, I thought you were going. Nick, you're next.
I was gonna pick menu.
Minute, what does that mean?
I think it means really small.
It does, it means very small. And it's a weird one because it's spelled exactly like minute, but we say minute, right? So minute, and it means very small. And you see, what other words do we know that mean small that start like this? M-I-N. Mia.
Mini, minuscule.
Mini, minuscule, miniature, absolutely. And it's got the same idea as that one. Okay?
Min is like the Greek word for small.
Yeah, and that's why we use the word minute because a minute is a small part of the hour, right? It's minute, it's small. All right, we've only got 2 left here. Okay, Henry, I thought you were leaving. You got another one?
I have another one.
Yeah, Hans, I don't need you to copy and paste internet definitions of things because it doesn't show me anything that you know. So please don't do
It's
that.
inhibit.
Okay, I don't know, we're getting there. So what's, Ryan, what, you got one?
I have one.
Well, who has one?
Me, Henry.
Henry? Okay, Henry, go ahead.
For inhibit.
What about inhibit?
It's like hinder or restrain.
Yeah, what does hinder mean? See, when you look up, no, Henry, listen to me now. This is something about my class you have to understand. If you look up something on the internet and say it to me, I will ask you about that thing. So if you say hinder or restrict, yeah, that's an internet definition. So you better be able to explain hinder to me, right? Here, I want to move to somebody else and see how it's going. Sherry, what about you?
I would say sheath.
Sheath, sure.
Sheath means like you put away a sword, like you
Yeah.
sheath the sword.
Yeah, and you put away, and that's the verb. And also it's like a container, and that's the noun. So where do you put your sword? You put it in the sheath.
Yes.
And you take it out of the sheath. You unsheath your sword and you sheath your sword.
Is
Absolutely.
it like the container that you put arrows?
That's called a quiver.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's called a quiver, and you put the arrows in the quiver. Usually 20 arrows go in a quiver. Okay, we got inhibit. It's the last one. Leo, you know inhibit?
Inhibit is another definition for like to restrict or like to restrict, to prevent something from happening. Like I will inhibit you from, well, from blowing up. I will inhibit you from blowing up the garage.
Well, and not exactly that much, okay? Because inhibit generally means wait. Don't talk when I'm talking, okay? Inhibit is when you slow something down, okay? It's not necessarily that you're stopping something. It can be, but it's basically stopping most of it. It's slowing something down. You're inhibiting something, okay?
Like a
dam.
dam.
What's that?
Like a dam and water. It can't necessarily.
Yeah, a dam. Some of the water goes through, but the dam helps to inhibit the flow of the river. Exactly.
Most of it. And like a virus inhibits the functions of a computer, ultimately turning the computer against you.
Into motion, then they take over the world. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right.
Can I also say
So listen.
something?
Okay, no, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna move on because we don't have a lot of time. Okay. So normally, just so you know, normally the class is 1.5 hours. But this class today, it's only 1 hour, right? It's a demonstration. So normally this class would start at 6:30 and go until 8 o'clock Toronto time. But today's class, of course, is just the 1 hour, just so you guys know. In case anybody's curious, there's also the other class, which runs from 4:30 to 6. So there's two different time possibilities, 4:30 to 6 or 6:30 to 8. And that's PM Ontario or AM China. And there we go. So this stuff I just showed you guys. Yeah, Ryan, you're cool. This stuff I just showed you guys would be the homework from the week before. And you would have to look at this and be prepared to talk about the vocabulary, just like this. I would ask you guys, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know? And you guys would tell me. If you don't do your homework, this activity would become very difficult. I don't want people going on the internet during class time and giving me dictionary definitions. I really want you to do the work and learn the words, okay? Now, what do we do with the words? Well, then we go on to the next thing, which would be going on to, I don't want that, sorry, going on to the reading. And that you guys would have to do as well for homework normally. But we'll take a look at it today together. Leo, Ryan, yeah?
Oh, it's also copyright. It's kind of violating the copyright rule because people work hard to find the definition, and then you just sing it out loud. You have to use your own words.
Yeah, no, that's not a good example of copyright. It's a good example. Oops, I'm glitchy there. It's not a good example of copyright. It's an example of what's called plagiarism, perhaps, where it's kind of a form of cheating. No, listen, don't talk when I'm talking, please, Leo. Okay, I'll give you a chance to talk, but don't interrupt me when I'm talking, okay? So basically, copyright infringement is when I'm using somebody else's intellectual kind of property. So if I like write a song, but it's exactly the same as another song somebody did, that's copyright. In academic writing, we call it plagiarism, where you're stealing somebody's idea, okay? If you give me a definition from the dictionary instead of your head, it's closer to plagiarism, not copyright. It's not a copyright law thing.
Oh, not copyright.
That's what you
Not
said.
copyright violation, but copyright rule violation, but just plagiarism. And
That's what I
then
just
you'll
said.
probably get an F if you copy the whole entire thing on plagiarism.
Well, absolutely, and perhaps get kicked out of the university once you're in university too. Sherry, question.
Oh, I actually just wanted to answer the question.
Which question?
These ones, like, what is the meaning?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
Alex,
and
listen,
some of them,
listen,
you're not going, some of them you're not going to be able to answer because.
the English teacher
Huh?
for college, okay?
Wait, Worldly Wise?
Ivy,
Yeah,
what-
they are teaching about the 6th grade Worldly Wise. Okay, can you check if
Worldly Wise.
I don't know what's going on there. So you won't be able to answer all of these questions until you do this first, which is the reading. Okay, and this one is about the story of silk. So normally this would be the homework you would do before class starts. You have a week to do the homework, look at the vocabulary, do the reading, and answer the questions. Okay, and this one here is about the silkworm, and it's about how the silkworm does what it does. Can anybody put up their hand and tell me, just in very general sense, can anybody tell me, if you know already, what is, I want to get some new people too, Leo and Ryan, I see you guys there, but let's get some new people. Can anybody tell me what is a silkworm? What is it used for? What's the purpose? Why is it special? Anybody else way down in the list? Who, Ryan, I got a different Ryan there, not Ryan and Leo Ryan, but the other Ryan. Ryan L.
So basically, silkworms are in China, and they use silkworms to gather like these string from the cocoon, make silk.
Right, and that's where we're talking about this thing here, right? We're talking about fiber, and that's where that vocabulary word comes in, where we're using the silk. Now, so we're talking about a silkworm. So what is a silkworm? Again, I want to get some other people here too. Henry, I thought you were leaving. What is a silkworm? Any new people down there? I'm going to come to you guys because you have your hands up. I see you there, Leo. Put your hand down. I just want to see if there's any new people that want to say anything. I'm hearing lots of background noise. I'm just going to see if anybody needs to be. There we go. Anybody else who I haven't talked to yet? No, nobody's brave enough. All right, Mia, what's a silkworm? Mia? I can't hear you. You're muted, Mia. Mia, you're muted. I can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to go to somebody else, Mia. Okay, Steven. Steven, what's a silkworm?
It's like a worm that like spuns these like a lot of strings that are, we call it silks.
Yeah, but what is the silkworm though? What does it become?
Like and
what does it turn into?
a butterfly. I'm
not
sure.
A butterfly, that other one.
Oh, the what?
It's a moth.
It's a moth.
It turns into a moth, right? And a moth and a butterfly are closely related, but the butterflies have a skinnier body.
And
right?
moths are like this one moth, I guess.
The moths are usually really have a wide, thick body, and they're very furry, right? Some of them
come out at night sometimes.
And they're nocturnal compared to butterflies. They're nocturnal. They come out at night and they zap themselves sometimes into lights. Exactly. So we have all these silkworms, this beautiful little silkworm, and the moth, the silkworm moth is really beautiful. It's like this unbelievable white thing that has these little
antennae. Only some of them turn into them because most of the people remove the silk, ultimately killing the worm, and only a lucky few that are selected are spared of the fate.
Yeah, that sounds very
That's
textbook.
how they get silk.
Yes, I know how they get silk. I know. So they're spinning the cocoon with all the fibers, and normally that cocoon stays there until the silkworm turns into the moth and it comes out, right?
Can you hear me?
But then some people are impatient and just take the silk.
I know. not some people, a huge factory. They're growing these things. And how do they get, okay, again, wait until I call your name, okay? How do they get the silk from this thing, this cocoon? How do they get the silk? Sherry, do you know what they do in the process?
Yeah, I think they let them spin cocoons,
Mhm.
and then after that, they just harvest the cocoons, killing
How?
all the little.
But how do they do it? Do you know?
They unravel it, I'm pretty sure.
They do, but they do something first so that they can unravel it because it's pretty hard.
Boil it. They
Yeah,
boil
Leo,
the
I'm going to ask you again, Leo. Please wait until I call your name. I'm trying to include everybody. And if you keep jumping in and talking, it's not fair to other people as well. I'm trying to be fair to everybody and give people a chance, okay? I know you want to tell me you know, but you really have to wait so that it's fair for everybody, okay? So as Leo said, it's right. They take the cocoons and they boil them. And they boil them so that it gets nice and soft so they can unspin all of that stuff, right? And of course, killing the silkworms. There we go. Poor silkworms. So what this reading is about then is about the idea of what silk is and why silk is so important. And you'll see in the reading, you can kind of notice that there's an introduction about a history of silk. Then there's the process of the stage of life of the silkworm. How that worm becomes the moth. Then it's going to talk about the process of how they make silk from that. And then the last part is about why silk is really special and important. Okay. So let's take a look together and see if we can do some. Oh, people still have their hands up. I'm not sure why. I'm not asking any questions. So let's all put our hands down because I'm not asking questions. I'm not asking questions right now, Leo, so it's fine. So normally you would do this at home, but let's take a look together here. What I'd like you guys to do, I'm going to zoom it in. I would like you guys to take a look at and read the first paragraph, this paragraph that I have highlighted right now. I want you to actually take the time to read this paragraph, okay? Do it quietly, don't do it out loud, okay? Go ahead, read this first paragraph, only the first paragraph. Okay, so what is the main idea? What's the main idea of this paragraph? Somebody tell me, put up your electronic hand. Mia, go ahead.
I think it's about about silkworms.
Okay, well, of course, the whole thing's about silkworms. We know that, but I'm asking more specifically, what is the main idea of this paragraph only? Hans.
How silk started, like how silk was invented or something.
Yeah, so what are the big question, what are the question words that are being answered here? If we talk about like where, when, what, why, how, right? Which questions are being answered here, Hans?
I think where, because it's like saying where it started.
So we learn about where. What else do we learn? What are the other two big question words we learn the answer to here?
I don't know the other two.
People put up your electronic hand so I can see you. Remember, I can only see like about 5 people at a time. So if you guys don't put up your electronic hand, I can't see it. Nick, what other question words are answered here?
I think there's when.
When, absolutely. We have a when. BCE means like before, it's before the common era. Basically, that's like 4,660 years ago, 61 years ago, okay? All right, and what's another question word that's answered here? Can anybody else tell me another question word that's answered here?
Where it is.
No, I know, Stephen, put up your hand if you want to answer. We already said where. We said when. What else, what other question can be answered here? Nick?
What?
Okay, yeah, what? We could talk about silkworms and silk for sure. Hans, what would you say?
Probably how, like how silk started.
We could say that, but we don't really know how it started. We don't have the mechanism. What about this right here? What question am I learning there? Leo?
Oh, they're also talking
No,
about
Leo, listen to my question. Listen to my question. My question is, which question word is answered here? We have where, we have when, and what is this telling me?
Oh, who?
Right, that's all I want to hear. Exactly, that's who. So we're learning a lot in this introduction, right? Now, if we take a look here, I'm going to shrink this down so we can see it properly. Hold on one second. If we take a look at the next part, okay? I want to see if I can possibly get all of this on one page for you guys. Oh, I know the easiest way to do it is I can do that. Now we've got 3 paragraphs here, okay? 1, 2, 3, okay? And this is going to answer more of our question about how and how silk is made in that way, but not about making the silk for production, but how that silkworm does this. So in the first paragraph, everybody kind of like have a quick look at it. I'm not even going to give you time here. What is the first step in the process? If we're making a step-by-step process or a diagram with arrows, what's the first step of the process? Leo?
First, they let the worm live its life, almost like a lamb.
Okay, no. Make it a nice, simple answer to my question, Leo. What's the first step in the process?
Just let the silkworm live.
No, that's not exactly where the process is starting here. Looking according to the reading, what's the first step of the process? Emmy. Wait, I'm moving on. Emmy, go ahead.
Lay eggs.
What lays eggs?
Female moth.
Right. So the moth, and what Leo is trying to say is that, of course, they need moths to actually live and stay alive to lay eggs, but they don't need that many because moths lay many, 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 many eggs. So you don't need thousands and thousands of moths. Well, depends on your production. So that lays the eggs. How many eggs does it lay? One moth lays how many eggs, Mia?
Up to 500.
Like 500 eggs. So again, you don't need a whole lot of them. Many of those eggs die in nature, right? But if you're in a silkworm production facility, many of them will survive. Okay, they are minute. They're super small, super small. Okay, great. How long until the silkworms hatch? Again, put down your hands until you hear the question. How long does it take for the silkworms to hatch? Stephen?
It takes about like 20 days to like after heated in an incubator.
Yeah, so it's after 20 days they hatch, no problem. And the silkworm has one purpose. What's one purpose in life of a silkworm? Mia?
Eating and staying motionless.
Eat. Let's take a look at a book. The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Anybody seen this book before?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it's famous worldwide.
It's very famous. It's like 40 years old now. So basically, he's an egg, right?
Yay!
He's an egg, and then he's born, and then he eats and eats and eats and eats. I have this book with my kids, and I love it. And then becomes really fat.
Congratulations, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. You're now officially 40 years old, and we should celebrate your 40-year anniversary. Thank you.
Okay, so it's 40 years old. And anyway, it's exactly what happens. They are born and they eat and eat and eat. Now, how much bigger do they become? Over that time, how much bigger do they become compared to when they're born? Hans? How many times bigger?
Probably more than 100 times. I
No,
guess.
the answer's in the reading. The answer's right there.
70-fold.
What does that mean? Take a guess.
Does it mean it times this size by 70 times?
Absolutely. So 70-fold is a weird way that we say it, but it means just it becomes 70 times bigger, right? So that's exactly what happens. It gets 70 times bigger. Woohoo! And there we go. Okay. People have their hands up. Again, once I ask a question and it's answered, take your hands down so I can see who to see. Now, the last thing the worm does, okay, I don't know what you're doing there, Ryan. The last thing the worm does is, what does it build? What does it build, Mia?
A cocoon.
It builds a cocoon. What is a cocoon? Mia?
It's kind of like an egg of some sort.
Kind of. It's like it comes out of an egg and then it builds another shell, right? So the cocoon is kind of this protective thing. Why does it build the cocoon?
To protect himself from predators while he sleeps.
And it's not just protecting himself, but he also needs to be in that small, tight, warm, controlled space. And what does this little worm dude do inside that cocoon? Stephen, do you know? Stephen, do you know? What does he do inside that cocoon?
Well, they would like spend like 3 weeks preparing to be a moth, and then when it comes out, it just becomes a fully moth.
So there's a moth. So it's transforming. It's called. Does anybody know the funky word that starts with an M about what it does?
Metamorphosis or metamorphoses.
Thank you for screaming, Leo. Metamorphosis. Metamorphoses would be the plural and the singular. It doesn't matter. So metamorphosis, the process where it goes from, it just means changing, right? It changes from the worm into the moth. Great, excellent. And then of course, it's going to talk about what happens to them then and how they take the cocoons, they heat them and they're dead, and then they unravel them.
Little does the worm know that.
Wait, Leo, remember what I said. Don't interrupt. Don't jump in. If you have something to say, you can put up your hand, but I'm not asking a question yet. We don't have a lot of time, so we're moving on. Can somebody tell me why is silk so important? It's very expensive. And why is it so important? Anybody else? I'm looking for new people too. Anybody? Emmy?
Our clothes are made of silk.
Not all your clothes are made of silk, that's for sure. They would be very expensive if they were. But why is silk so expensive? What are the qualities or properties of silk that make it really, really cool? Mia?
It's
Okay, let me try. That's okay. Let me try Nick. Nick, what can you tell me?
It's really soft and it's warm and it's wrinkle resistant.
I mean, it's really strange because it can keep you warmer, but it's lighter and thinner and incredibly strong. It's the strongest natural fiber. It can actually, if you have a rope made out of silk, for example, it can be very, very thin and still hold up like a full-grown man, right? It's very, very strong. So that's why it's so valuable for so many things. Silk, there we go. Awesome. Now, in the class, we're going to move on now because we're almost done. In the class, you'd be doing this. And let me get rid of that. You would normally be doing this for homework, and then I would be checking your answers. And you would be answering all of these different questions. When you're answering the questions, you would have to answer them in full sentence answer. We'd talk about that if you take the class, it's fine. So I actually would go over your homework and check each of your answers to make sure that your sentences are written correctly and also that you're answering the question correctly, okay? The other thing that I'll be checking and the computer will be doing is the online vocabulary exercises. So there's usually between 25 and 35 questions about the vocabulary, and the computer will automatically mark that, okay? So that's really important. Then there's going to be the writing assignment, okay? And when we come back and we talk about, so in week 7, for example, like right here at the end of this, we'll talk about the reading you did for homework, all this fun stuff. And this, for example, would be the homework you need to do after you do the reading. It's not about silkworms, but it's about something we learned about silkworms. You have to write 1 or 2 paragraphs, at least 250 words, talking about a process of how something is done or made. Use at least 4 vocabulary words from the list. And remember, we had that vocabulary list, right? Use at least 4 vocabulary words from the list. And do not copy things from the internet. Trust me, if you copy from the internet, I will know and you'll get no mark. It's very important that you're not doing that, okay? Everything has to be your work and your work only. So you're gonna research the internet to find out about a process. You're gonna introduce what this thing is, the process is, and describe the steps. Now, it could be how something is made, like a car, or I don't know, a song, or how you make a cake. I don't care. The point is, there's something about step by step that you need to do in your writing homework. And that's an example of the kind of homework you'll get. So each class will talk about the reading that you did. We'll talk more about vocabulary, and we'll talk about your writing and what you did. Then we'll look at the vocabulary for the next week, okay? And the homework that we'll be doing the next week, all right? So guys, this is basically what the course looks like. And we do the same basic thing like that every week with different topics. Each class only has up to 8 students in each class, okay? So sometimes it's possible it might be more. I've had some with 9 before because students wanted to take the class, but generally we're not going to have huge classes like in real school, right? Usually it's 8. Sometimes I only have 6, but we hope for 8. And that means that you will get a lot more time. Well, if you like it or don't like it, you'll have a lot more time where you have to talk in class, and I'll be able to deal with you and your problems a lot better. But I correct your homework a lot. I correct your reading homework. I correct your writing homework in detail. I'll teach some grammar lessons about how to join and connect sentences to make your writing better. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is basically what the course is like for Wordly Wise 6. There is a level 5 class I'm doing as well. Most of the people that were talking to me today, there's many people I didn't talk to or see, but most of the people talking to me today seemed like this is a good level for you. If it seemed incredibly difficult, maybe level 5 is a better choice, and we'll see that, but I don't know. So 1 minute left. Are there any final very important questions that anybody has? Put up your electronic hand. Any questions before we go? No? Leo's already left. All right, well, we are done. Thank you for your time. I hope that was okay. If you have any questions, you can contact me through the company or whatever, and I can surely clear some of that up. But again, you don't need the materials. I'll be providing you with what you need for the course, and everything will be fine. All right, maybe I'll see some of you guys again. Some of you I've already seen and I see all the time. So have a good night and take care.